This afternoon, ANA is announcing a new package of student loan benefits. The program is aimed at attracting and keeping employees by helping them pay off their student debt while they build their retirement nest eggs. This is our way of responding to the financial challenges facing young employees. They often report crippling student debt obligations.
How does the program work essentially?
Employees who contribute at least 2% of their pay toward their student loans will receive a 5% match in their retirement savings plan. Let's say an employee is making $50,000 and uses at least $1,000 to pay down their student debt. ANA will contribute $2,500 to their 401k tax-qualified defined contribution pension account.
Sounds like an excellent plan. What are the long-term benefits?
Well, that employee with a $50,000 annual salary could accumulate nearly $40,000 in his or her retirement account over 10 years without having to make any retirement contribution of their own. That's assuming a 6% average annual return and yearly merit increases of 3%. What sets ANA's program apart is that it promotes paying down student debt as well as saving for retirement.
I'm generally aware of the problems many Americans face with student loan repayments, but just how bad is the situation?
It's pretty grim, actually. In fact, it's a disaster. Student debt has reached record levels in the United States. Americans owe a total of more than $1.5 trillion in student loans.
Wow, that's a mind-boggling amount.
The average monthly payment for people in their 20s who are paying back their student loans is $350. That means they often have nothing left for their retirement plans. What's more, the crushing burden of student debt has put higher education out of reach for many people in the first place.
The obvious answer to this situation is to make universities tuition-free. Take New York University, for example. Last year, it announced that incoming medical school students wouldn't have to pay tuition. All current and future students enrolled in NYU's MD degree program will receive full tuition scholarships.
How very forward-looking and enlightened. But just where will the university get the money to fund its medical school?
Most of it will come from donations. The scholarships are awarded independently of merit or financial need for all enrolled students. That saves them $55,000 a year in tuition. Now, they'll still have to fork over about $30,000 annually for books, fees, housing, and other living expenses. The basic idea is to ensure that graduates aren't saddled with a six-figure debt and expand their career options.
I was shocked to learn that more than 60% of the NYU Medical School's most recent graduating class had student loans averaging about $180,000. So this promises to be a real game changer.
Medical schools are concerned about how rising tuition fees and huge debt loads are pushing new doctors into high-paying fields. This is leading to a shortage of researchers and general practitioners, and making some students think twice about medicine as a career choice.
Yes, specialists can take home big bucks. Doctors specializing in pediatrics and internal medicine have average annual salaries of $250,000. But that's peanuts compared with neurosurgery and thoracic surgery. Doctors in those fields can make upwards of $500,000 a year. Not surprisingly, we're seeing a surplus in those specialties as young doctors choose them over less lucrative fields.
If doctors' career choices are being affected by student debt burdens, imagine what the situation is like for college graduates with lower potential incomes, like nurses and teachers.
The student debt problem poses a real threat to this country's social stability as part of the overall trend toward increased inequality.
It does indeed. If young people spend a big chunk of their paycheck on repaying student loans and are therefore less able to buy cars and homes, it can be hard for them to get good credit ratings. And if they're less likely to buy cars and homes, it could have a serious knock-on effect on the whole economy. They may not have adequate capital to start their own businesses. And if they can't save enough money for retirement, will they need government support in their autumn years? That could become a severe burden on the public purse.
One alternative for students is to consider study abroad programs. That can be a good way to use their limited financial resources. Plus, studying abroad increases their marketability for top jobs. Many graduates say one of the first things they're asked in job interviews is whether they've studied in another country. Statistics show that students who study abroad for a meaningful period of time make as much as 20% more money during their careers. They also tend to be promoted faster and get choice international assignments.
Getting back to the basic problem of student debt, pretty much everybody agrees there's an urgent need for reform. But the solution is far from clear. Some people say students should be required to take a personal finance course. That makes a lot of sense to me. Having a solid grasp of personal finance is a critical survival skill in today's society.
Truer words were never spoken. When young adults make important financial decisions without good money management skills, they risk getting into serious difficulty. Just look at the statistics for defaults on student loans. I read somewhere that more than half of all millennials take on student loans without even trying to calculate what their repayments will be. The way I see it, financial literacy is just as important as literacy itself.
Having good personal finance skills is important, of course, but it's not a magic bullet. It can be tough to plan ahead, even if you count your pennies and run a tight ship financially.
No kidding. There's no consensus among experts as to what the best investment and retirement savings strategies are. It's really hard to keep on top of all the financial offerings that come onto the market.